We are going to change gears slightly and talk about training from Cambridge via video conferencing. And I'd like to call upon our two speakers. Corinna Alberg will tell us about her experience setting up the seminars. Corinna is Cambridge coordinator of two East Africa-based initiatives, Thrive and MUII, which are both funded by the Wellcome Trust and have been up and running for the last 10 years. Corinna will be joined by Dr. Maike de la Roche from the Cancer Research UK Cambridge Institute. Dr. de la Roche heads the newly established Cancer Immunology Group at the Cancer Institute and will give us a seminar presenter perspective and also describe some of the developments that have emerged from her involvement with the seminar series.
Thank you, Watu, for the introduction. So just a very brief word to give a bit of the context of MUII-plus, which is one of the two programs that I work alongside. So MUII-plus is the second stage after the first 5 years of funding of MUII to continue the work of MUII, which the MUII stands for Makerere, which is the top picture, Makerere University, and the Ugandan Virus Research Institute, which is the second picture, is bringing these two institutions much more closely together in Uganda in order to enhance the research environment, particularly around infection and immunity in Uganda. And secondly, to increase research capacity and research excellence through career training and expertise. And this has very much sort of been a development through the course of these two phases of MUII, that now the MUII-1 alumni are very much supporting the MUII-2, the MUII-plus fellows, as that capacity has been sort of built through the first 5 years of funding of MUII to then provide that support for the new MUII fellows. And also with external links, particularly in the UK, with University of Cambridge and also the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine and other universities in the UK and also elsewhere abroad. And a third aspect of MUII-plus is to continue a broad training programme in infection and immunity, and the video-linked seminar series was part of this to strengthen a relatively newly established master's course in immunology and in clinical microbiology. So within Cambridge, to support the MUII-plus programme, my role is to arrange mentorship partners, and we have one of the partnerships in the audience today, Francesco Colucci and Stephen Tukwasibwe. Stephen is doing a PhD funded through the MUII-plus programme and is currently in Cambridge, actually on his third visit to develop his research through the partnership with Francesco and Francesco's colleagues. And there are other MUII fellows yet to come to Cambridge. We give support for the appointment of the fellows. Earlier on we were hearing about the importance of selecting the best candidates to get the most out of the programs, and so we provide sort of external reviews for the selection process. And then support for the fellows before they come to Cambridge and also during their time in Cambridge. And then the sort of development more recently has been an expert seminar series for this master's course. So the seminars are live interactive video-linked seminars, and we've had 24 of these seminars so far. They started just over a year ago in March of 2017. And we're really grateful to the broad range of Cambridge academics who are experts in immunology and microbiology, who have contributed their time to developing the seminars and presenting the seminars. And because these are live seminars, it means that there's, people can ask questions and sort of develop some of their research ideas through the questioning. And there's quite a lot of the presenters in the audience today, so thank you very much to those who are here. It's very much a collaborative activity, so the faculty at Makerere on the course and also the student representatives will tell us what are the particular topics that they would like seminars on that will sort of complement the course that is being offered. And we will try and sort of find speakers that sort of link in with that list. And also, if we know that there are other people with particular expertise in Cambridge that we think would be sort of helpful for the students, we'll sort of add those as well. And we're really grateful for the IT support that is really fundamental for this happening, both at the Cambridge end and also at Makerere. And the Ugandan Cancer Institute, who, because of their wonderful broadband levels, have supported the initiative when they can by letting us use their facilities, because the IT really is very fundamental to the whole thing actually working. This is too small for you to read, but basically it gives you an idea of the sort of number of seminars that we've had so far and the variety. Presenters have been from University of Cambridge, quite a few from the Department of Pathology, also Babraham and the Sanger Institute. So it's sort of, we try and pull in everybody around the sort of Cambridge research environment who has got the sort of knowledge to contribute to this seminar series. So we've also got some sort of feedback both from the students and faculty. After each seminar, we ask students to evaluate the seminars, and they have been highly rated by students. Let's see if I hope you don't. Right. They've been highly rated by the students. They find them informative and relevant, and that they find that the discussions inspires a selection of their research areas, because the first year of the course is a talk course, and then the second year focuses on research projects. And then the feedback we've had from faculty, because we've had a number of meetings with faculty as well, is that seminars is quite a novel way in Makerere for the students on this course in the College of Health Sciences to sort of to study, and that it exposes them to the sort of to participating in a seminar, which is obviously quite different from more of a sort of standard lecture. And they really find that the interactive nature allows the students to ask questions, and the synopsis that the presenters provide in advance helps them to do some background reading in advance. And the interactive sort of nature and the way that we bring in these experts from different areas really helps their understanding of the topics that are covered. They find the seminars also very useful in benchmarking the teaching going on to sort of world-class sort of teaching standards, and have found that it's very useful as well for the students when they're looking at what research they would like to do. Very often it's actually inspired by the talks that are given, and actually being able to then discuss the sort of field with an expert in that area to develop their research ideas. And the faculty have said that they've noticed that the standard of research projects has really been impacted in a positive way as a result of the seminar series. So I'm going to now hand over to Maike, who presented one of the seminars for us.
Thank you very much. So first of all, so I have my lab working at the CUK Cancer Institute in Cambridge, and I was delighted when Corinna asked me to give a seminar on what I really like. So we study adaptive immune responses against cancer, and so I gave a seminar on cancer immunology. And in general, I must say, for all speakers or the ones in the future, these seminar series are really amazingly organized, and the students are all extremely good. They are engaged, and you also see that at the quality of the questions that they asked after, and maybe that they are not only questions that go into the subject, but also often the students also ask more global questions, and I think that is where it is a good thing, resounding on Corinna's comments, that now, while I do only cancer immunology, but that I know quite well, and the students then benefit, so they ask more global questions where the future, where the research is going in the future, and I think this will benefit them for their own environment as well. So for all people who are thinking to give these seminars, as a whole thing, I would say it's really minimal effort for us, but a lot of gain can be achieved, and it was really a fantastic day that I had when I gave the seminar here. And then Cambridge Africa has given me the opportunity to join Corinna to attend the AGM of MUII-plus in Kampala, and I have this in red here. I mean, it was really, really inspiring what Professor Elliott and her team have really built up there. It was not only excellent science, but also so many career rising. So for me, it was truly inspiring. But I also went with the idea to maybe try to connect to the Uganda Cancer Institute, to the UCI. So to maybe find, as a first reach out, some common interest between my research institute here and the UCI. And by doing this, also Stephen, who has been mentioned before, who is a MUII fellow here in the picture, has been instrumental because he already set meetings up. So we had a really good time and deep. So we spent 2 days at the UCI, and we toured the hospital and the clinical laboratories, and also got a really in-depth tour of the research facilities to really see what they have done so far and what the status is. And I gave a seminar to staff and students at the Ugandan Cancer Institute. And that was also very good to make the first connections and set up the first links. But really, at the center stage was then our chance to meet Dr. Jackson Oram, who is the director of the Ugandan Cancer Institute, and Dr. Nixon Sima, who is the head of research. And with these two people, we were sitting and having very productive meetings and saying, because they were very enthusiastic and very much looking for collaborative efforts with Cambridge. And we discussed about potential interaction and training and where common research interests would lie. And it was amazing. So we were really, that was fortuitous meeting, because Dr. Jackson Oram, he's actually a specialist in Burkitt's lymphoma. And Nixon Nyonsima is not only a very good research oncologist, but has also a lot of knowledge about Burkitt's lymphoma. And Burkitt's lymphoma is a big problem in Uganda. It has a highest incidence actually in Eastern Africa, and mortality rates, and the mortality rates stem from, there are two forms of Burkitt lymphoma. We have the sporadic that we have here in the Western world, and it's endemic Burkitt's lymphoma in Uganda. And while we have cure rates for so our kids have received high-dose chemotherapy, and over 90% survive, while there in Uganda, we are still going about 30% survival. So this is due to that they don't have intensive care units, and there are other things. But this was something where we then picked up, and I have a very dear collaborator of mine, is Dr. Suzanne Turner at the Department of Pathology here, who is a lymphoma specialist, and she actually worked on endemic, not on endemic Burkitt's, but on the sporadic cases that we have here, really, really rarely. And she has already developed a model system with PDXs, so patient-derived xenografts, in which she then can take a tumor biopsy and grow them in immune-deficient mice and test the best therapy combinations. And here we have on the Ugandan side, absolute specialists, clinical specialists on Burkitt's lymphoma. And then I thought, this is really such a wonderful match. And then after the visit, we brought them both in contact. And now, today, we are submitting an international collaboration award for the Royal Society, which has two aspects. One is to develop an early diagnostic test, a long-distance PCR for Burkitt's, that can be used in malaria clinics, and also try to find novel therapeutics by using Suzanne's PDXs, while establishing, obviously, first a big biobank and research capacity in Uganda. And in the future, it will be, so where I'd like this thing to move is that we can find some commonalities really between my institute and the UCI.
you very much, Corinna and Maike. Would like to take one or two questions from the floor. There's one at the front over here.
Hi, Corinna. I wonder if you could comment on what sort of bandwidth is required on the African side to run these sort of video links?
I'm not very technical, but this is why we've headed off to the Ugandan Cancer Institute, because the original venue that we had within Makerere, it sounded really clear from our end, but very often from the feedback forms, it was not adequate. And so we are working, and Alison's been really helping us support that, to try and improve the bandwidth where we have sort of regular access to. But this, in some ways, is where this actual collaboration with the Ugandan Cancer Institute stemmed from, was because of the problems of bandwidth. The exact figures, I'm afraid, I can't tell you, but I can find out for you.
All right, thank you very much.